get to kick it with y'all, man. It's been a minute. At least it feels like it. We do this every week. But man, I feel like it's been forever, bro. My brothers and sisters, shout out to AMD1. Good to see you. Shawnee, good to see you. Girls Do STEM. I see you. Welcome to the live, STEM Media Live. I'm excited because we have another phenomenal guest, as we always do. But first, man, let me know how you feeling. The real Jalil 98. How you feeling? How you feeling? Give me a 1 in the comments if you don't mind. Like, let me know you just feeling straight. Give me a 2 if you're all right. Obviously, there's been a lot going on in various parts of the country, wherever you may be. But let me know how you feeling. Let me know how you feeling. Give me a 1. What up, Alicia? What's going on? The research hers in the building. Good to see you. Good to see you. I hope you maintaining, sis. Hope you're doing well. Shout out to you. Yep. Let me know how you feeling. Give me a 1 if you're feeling good. We're going to be bringing on our guest, Dr. Mary Payton. If you're here, go ahead and give us a peace sign, give us a 1, give us a comment. I hope everybody's doing good, man, because this is something that is really like a check-in. You know, we chat with some of the most inspirational and creative people in the STEM community. But this STEM Media Live every Sunday it's a check-in, not only for people who watch this. Shout out to the replay squad, everybody that's catching this up on a replay. But this is for your boy too. So it's always good to see you. Amoye, good to see you. Thanks for coming through. Yes, good to see the 1. Keelan, how you doing? Thanks for joining. All right, y'all. I just want y'all to know that today we just want to chat with someone who I have dubbed the Lieutenant Colonel of STEM education. Of course, we know that this has been various things going on, man. You got the pandemic. You have a lot of social issues in our community. That's definitely on our hearts and mind. But one thing that's very important to me, check it out. This is very important to me, Alicia and Keelan, everybody that's here. I think one of the things that we need to continue to put in front of our people are positive images of people that look at us. Yes, there are horrific images, and yes, we can't hide from the truths that exist in our world, and we have to stand up and fight and make our voice be heard. But we also can't lose sight of the fact that we are out here doing amazing things, that we are out here contributing in ways of excellence, that we are not maintaining all the time under someone's foot or under someone's knee. We are Black excellence. We are people of color. We are STEM excellence. And so that's something that's no different, I must say, to the guest that I have to bring on, Dr. Mary Payton. And so y'all do me a favor, man. If you resonate with that, if you resonate with just excellence, showing that at the end of the day, yet we rise. I don't know if y'all saw the latest post on the page, man. I came across that. And I was like, yo, we got to post this. I shared that. I was like, yo, we got to post this. This is definitely something that speaks to the moment, that despite all that is going on, despite the terrorism, despite the fear, despite whatever we could be trembling in front of, we will not tremble. We will rise. And yet and still, we have people out here doing amazing things. And Dr. Mary Payton is one of them. So do me a favor, y'all. Y'all got to get some hearts ready to go, because I'm about to introduce our guest for the evening, Dr. Mary Payton. I want to read her bio for you real quick. She has a varied history, something I'm very interested in to talk about. But check it out. Dr. Mary Payton is a science and STEM education professional who has taught throughout the United States and internationally at the United Arab Emirates. She also served as principal of an international school in South Korea. Dr. Payton entered into secondary education after a successful 29-year military career as a U.S. Army chemical officer. She retired as a successful lieutenant colonel and began her teaching career in Alabama at Jacksonville State University. Dr. Mary Payton is a native Texan who taught for Fort Worth and Dallas Independent School Districts, Texas A&M International in Laredo, and Texas Wesleyan University. While in Texas Wesleyan University, she was honored for her performance as a STEM educator in the areas of robotics and engineering. Currently, she hosts a radio show. That's right, she's along our lane, Lisa. She's a radio host of All About STEM Radio, which is an international award-winning internet broadcast and authors. She is an internet broadcast, and she is the author of children's books in STEM. So do me a favor, if you're on the line, you with us live, get some hearts going. Even if you're watching this on replay, let's get some hearts going, because we're about to bring on the live, present to some, introduce to others, none other than our good friend, this evening.
Hello.
Hello, Dr. Payton. How are you?
Okay. I am happy to be here. Let me get this straight, because you can't give me technology, because that's why I have produced. So how are you,
How you doing? So y'all check this out, right? We usually jump already. You already know, Dr. Payton. We break the ice usually a certain way, but I just want to go ahead and tell people. I meant to say this in your. You can hear me? Oh no. All right, y'all watching this. Let me tell you where Dr. Payton is joining us from. Can you hear me, Dr. Payton? Oh man, she's freezing up a little bit. In case you guys are wondering.
I'm freezing.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Don't know why.
Hey, Teresa, what's up? What's up, Teresa?
Okay.
Can you hear me, Dr. Payton? Can you hear me? Yes or no? Okay, she can't hear me. All right, y'all. So check this out. She is joining us. While we get this straight, she is joining us from the state of Hawaii. Hawaii. Y'all guys give shouts out to Hawaii. So right now, Dr. Payton, just let me know when you can hear me, because I'm gonna keep talking, and I'll try to bring you back in if he runs into issue. Y'all, she's joining us from the state of Hawaii. So she's actually about 5 or 6 hours, I think, behind me. And I have never had a guest from Hawaii. So this is definitely going to be an occasion. If you all just hang tight for us, we're going to try to make sure that I'm on the East Coast and she's like way west. So hopefully the Wi-Fi and everything works well. But I'm going to bring it back on now, so hold tight. Dr. Mary Payton, waiting for her to join us back again from Hawaii. Let me see. Give a couple of shout. What up, Satina Steph? Good to see you. Aloha. Yes. Hopefully she can catch that aloha when we bring her back in. I lost her right now, so we definitely going to get her back on in just a second. All right, while we're waiting for her to join back in chat, I haven't seen her on the chat. Do me a favor and let me know if there is something that brings you hope this weekend. Let me know in the comments, because here's the thing, right? Like, there is often things that can discourage us. But amidst all of this, it's always important to find one thing that brings us hope. So if you can put that in the comments, I promise you I would love to acknowledge, what is that one thing that brings you hope? Brings you hope. Oh, here's Dr. Mary Payton back on. I'm going to be looking for those comments, but I'm going ahead and try to see if she can join us at this time. Go live with Dr. Mary Payton. What is something that brings you hope? I look forward to it. I look forward to seeing your comments, even if it's just one or two. Mary, can you hear me?
I can hear you. Can you hear me now?
I hear you. I'm not sure. I'm not sure exactly what was the cause of the disruption, but I think we're good now.
I hope so. So how are you?
I'm good. So I just told everybody that you're joining us from the state of Hawaii.
Yep, that's where I am now. Yes. I decided to come here and teach because the principal had 2 teachers that quit, and Lord have mercy, I'll tell you why in a minute.
Okay. Well, we're gonna get into all of this, Dr. Mary Payton. In fact, Stephanie, a good friend, Stephanie, said aloha as soon as she missed you. She's still up in the comments. She said aloha to you. Aloha. And I posed a question to the viewers right when we were waiting on you to get back on. And obviously it's been a heavy week for a lot of us. And I asked them, what is something that brings us hope, brings you hope specifically? And I just want to acknowledge one response that we got. Orica Intel says technology will provide equality in the future. And I guess I can follow up and say that technology does have the potential to connect people, to bring opportunity to individuals who once, if they didn't live in a certain environment or they didn't live in a certain area, wouldn't have had opportunity. But now, because of technology, because of connection, there is more access. Of course, we know that it isn't perfect. We haven't completely blanketed the globe, but we have the potential to connect minds who may not be always geographically placed correctly, but still those minds can have access to the information that is available across the globe. And so I appreciate that answer to the individual that pointed that out. Manny Talks, good to see you. You all, this is Dr. Mary Payton. She is the Lieutenant Colonel of STEM Education. What do you think about that moniker?
Hey, you giving me a lot of props there, man.
Yeah.
A lot of props, and hey, I totally appreciate it and love everything.
Yes. So. But listen, man, I really appreciate you, Mary, for joining us this evening. And we're going to go ahead and kick things off the way we typically do. And that is by asking you, our guest, to give us a random fun fact about yourself. Something that someone who just heard your bio wouldn't expect to know about Dr. Mary Payton.
Okay. From me being a strong African-American female, you would think I would never let something get to me.
Okay.
As I said earlier, I took this job after 2 people had quit. 2 people quit, walked away, deuces, I'm out.
Yeah.
And the principal, when she hired me, she kept saying, now, our children are very bad. And I'm like, how bad can they be? I've taught kids, I've taught adults, I've taught everybody. How can they be?
Yeah.
I quit after 3 weeks.
Wow. Wait, hold on. Wait, let me make sure I understand correctly. You're talking about where you are right now?
I quit after 3 weeks. And the principal comes up to the classroom. She goes, Mary? I said, yes. She said, I didn't lie to you. She said, I told you they were bad. I said, yeah, you did. Dang it, I can't quit now because you didn't.
Right.
So I said, I'll stay. And I did. And you know what? It has been one of the most enjoyable situations ever.
Yeah.
I'm the only teacher at the school that looks like me. But, you know, I get a note from a student saying, Dr. Payton, I'm so glad you stayed. I know that you can do what you need to do, and I will try to stop acting an ass in your class.
That's what the student said.
That's what the student said. I will keep that note forever. I have stacks and stacks of notes, but the young lady did well in class, but it was hilarious. I mean, 3 weeks, they broke me.
Yeah.
But I stayed, and I was like, wow. They have been.
So tell me this really quick, and of course we're going to get to your story, but where do you find that? I mean, you said you had quit. You were done after 3 weeks.
I was done.
Right. But then the principal came and said, listen, I told you, I didn't blindside you. This is what it was about. Almost like, you know, what did you expect? I laid it out for you. How did you find, or where did you find, I guess, that gumption to still go back and attack and keep moving in something that you kind of had already given up on at some point?
Well, it's one thing I said to her during my interview. What makes a good teacher is coming to work every day.
Yeah.
And when you go to work every day, whatever happened the day before, you can't hold on to that. And I went to work the next day, and those kids that acted up the day before, I went to them. If they needed help with their work, I helped them with their work. And these were kids that failed, had been failing all year.
Right.
And, you know.
Wow.
It some days it took a lot out of me, but I didn't give up on them.
Yeah.
And every day was a new day.
Yeah.
Some days I had to call parents. Yeah. Parental support became very important.
Yeah.
But this year, every one of my kids passed.
Oh, I love
every kid passed.
I love it. That's powerful.
Yeah. And
no, I think it's really deep. No, maybe some people think I'm overthinking it, but you said something very powerful. Shout out to Kelly, the science caterpillar. Everyone's coming to S. You get to see you. You said what makes a good teacher is coming to work the next day, basically showing up
every day.
So it's not even a matter of knocking it out the park every single time you're at bat, but really continuing to show up is what makes you great. Wow.
Yep.
Yeah.
Because I'm going to tell you, some days you can go into that classroom and you have the perfect thing that you're going to teach, and it goes out the window.
Yeah.
Something else is taught, and I'm going to say this, and I'm going to let you get to your question.
Yeah.
I was teaching at a school in Texas, and I have a tendency to get the best of the best kids and the worst of the worst kids.
Yeah.
And I was teaching one of my classes of students who had failed biology 3 times.
Mm-hmm.
And we got on a conversation. I was teaching something, and then we got on like a 15-minute conversation of how each and every one of them had been either in jail or drug rehab for 90 days or more.
Yeah, yeah. Wow.
And I'm like, I just could sit there and I'm like, wow.
Yeah.
It was like, okay, that wasn't the lesson I was teaching today, but that's the one that we got.
Right. And then now you have to kind of address and go down those paths. And I think that you're able to do that better when you're able to look beyond perhaps the hangups of the individual and see their humanity and to see the need that they have and give them care and concern. Yeah. That's good, man.
I love it.
Yeah, awesome. Jay Flores, Dr. John, good to see y'all. Thanks for swinging through. I hope y'all are doing good. Let us know in the comments how you feeling. I have with me Dr. Mary Payton, who just reiterated basically what Teresa said in the comments. Man, them kids be testing your sanity sometimes, but you gotta find something deep. And she said a message that I think applies to anybody in this chat, watching this replay or not, and that is what makes you great as a teacher in her case, or as a researcher or grad student, as a STEM professional, is just going to work the next day. Mary, I don't think you know how profound that is, and I really appreciate you sharing that.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. Y'all give some hearts for that as we transition. Mary, let's talk about your early days, your childhood. You're from Texas. Give us a little bit the young days, growing up as a young Black woman in Texas, and how you even get close to this thing called STEM.
Well, back when I grew up, it wasn't called STEM. It was called technology.
Okay.
And I was lucky enough to go to Green Beach Trimble Technical High School, which was a technical high school. And when I was little, my mother let me destroy pretty much everything in the house. I took apart the lawnmower. I helped fix the car. The biggest joke in the family is I don't know how to clean up. I can cook. I'm a very good cook.
Yeah.
And my house is immaculate. But when I cook, the family will clean my house before I leave because they say I don't do it right. Because they said I did everything outside. But I was lucky enough to go to a high school and have a mother that allowed me to really dove into those things that were technical. I took auto body, I took auto mechanic, but my certification from school was in dental assistant, medical.
Yeah.
I took that route. And so, but when I went to college, I love biology and I love sports. So I got a double major.
What was your sport of choice?
At 5'4", you're not gonna believe what it was.
Basketball.
Basketball.
What?
Basketball. And I played basketball.
You have a J? You had a nice J? You had a nice jumper?
No, but I was heck from the free throw line, and I was heck under the basket.
Oh, okay.
Back then.
Yeah.
Because,
Wow. So you like sports and you like biology when you got to college. Those are your two main passions. Yeah.
Those were my two main passions. And I was lucky enough to be in kinesiology and be in biology. And back in the 70s, believe it or not, I was still in both majors. I was pretty much the only person that looked like me and the only person that was primarily female. There were very few females.
Yeah.
And in biology, there were very few people going that stream that weren't pre-med.
Yeah.
But I wanted to be a teacher. So, I did what I wanted to do.
You studied what you wanted to study, but you didn't subscribe to the normal path that everyone else did with that. Okay. That's good. That's good. Let's see. Really quick, he got some comments about your growing up. Jay Flores, shout out to you. He said, yes, mothers, let your children take things apart. It's a free intro to engineering course. You're absolutely right, Jay. Taking things apart, you can see how it works. Absolutely. Yes, the picture says, 5'4", definitely. I don't know if they're 5'4" as well, or they feel you, or listen, shout out to everybody in the fives. Shout out to all the fives and the fours. 6 feet and under. Steph says she put some basketballs out there. Shout out to you as well. I am wondering, though, again, you talked about how during those days, even now, right, we have this disparity. There is, underrepresented people of color. There isn't as many women as we have in the general population in these STEM fields. But even more so, I'm sure, at the time that you were going through. Where did you find motivation at times when people looked at you and basically responded to you as if you didn't belong? Like, how did you get through those moments? I mean, obviously you had your support of your family, but I'm sure they weren't always there.
Basically, well, as we said, my mom, my aunts, my sister, my uncles, but I had people around me that would be like, how did you do that? And I'd explain.
Yeah.
I had that self-motivation that you're going to do this. Now, nobody's going to believe this because a lot of people don't, because my last few degrees, I graduated with a perfect 4-point GPA. I was special education.
Really?
I'm dyslexic. Know it.
Wow.
I mean, even now, sometimes words will float.
Yeah.
But, and so it took me time. I had to have that perseverance. It was something I wanted to learn. I had to take the time to read it, learn it, do it.
Yeah.
And, my mother always, her motto was, no one can do more for you than you can do for yourself. If you want it, you get it.
Bars.
And so I pushed and I pushed and I pushed.
Yeah.
And I studied and I destroyed some things. And I just did what I did.
Yeah, yeah. No one can do more than you can do for yourself. I give some hearts for that. If you want it, go get it. And what strikes me with that, Mary, is the fact that there's a positive and negative. Like, no one can go and actually achieve what you want to achieve on your behalf, and no one can stop you from achieving or tear you down, unless you allow them to kind of seep in. And I just love the fact that you didn't allow, being a minority or being the fact that you were dyslexic to hold you back. So much so to the it's for the 4.0, but that is definitely inspiring. Shout out to Maritza, Bravo University. That's the same thing. That's very inspiring. So thank you for sharing that. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah. So let's talk about the military. Oh, you had something to say? Go ahead.
No, I was just saying, I don't want anybody to feel sorry for me because, hey, I got this.
Yeah.
I got this.
You do.
Hey. But the military, when I went in, I started out enlisted.
Okay.
And that was after I got my first degree. I started out enlisted and went back to my original field from high school. I was a dental tech. And started trying to get commissioned because everybody said, oh, you have a degree, you should be commissioned. And I was in the Air Force and didn't get selected for officer school. So where I was getting my master's from, which was TCU, they had an Army ROTC there. And I said, okay, I'll try that. They accepted me. And I was a graduate student in their military science department. And this was in the early 80s, well, the mid 80s. And I was the first African-American to graduate and get commissioned in Army ROTC at TCU. And I never knew that till I went back one day and our clerk said, did you know this about yourself? I said, no. He said, yeah, you were the first. He said, a lot went, but most of them quit.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I never understood why they quit. I had a fun time jumping out of helicopters, shooting guns, doing all the things that I was supposed to do. Wow. And just going to school. But when we got commissioned, all I wanted to be was chemical. And that was dealing with nuclear, biological, and chemical warfare. And I got my first choice. And my first assignment was in Germany as a platoon leader, a decon platoon leader. Loved it, and then came back. And as a lieutenant, I got to do something that most people didn't get to do. And at that rank, I taught at the chemical school after my officer advanced course. And they said, but we're going to promote you we're going to frock you, which is give you the promotion, but not give you the money, to captain, because your rank is not the rank that you should have to teach here. But your scores and what you did, are what you need.
Yeah.
I said, I'm not going to take it. I said, I'll take another assignment, but I'm not going to allow you to frock me just to save face. And they didn't. And I stayed there and I taught nuclear weapons, nuclear warfare for 4 years. So
overqualified in your skills, though. Oh, obviously, right? but you didn't want to take the symbolic promotion.
No.
At the end of the day, you're just going to continue to excel where you were.
Yeah.
Yeah. So was your position, break it down a little bit what you did. I mean, we understand what teaching is, and appreciate the hearts, y'all. Give some hearts for that story. But what was sort of your role, again, in chemical warfare? What can you share about, I guess, if a person were to go in that career path, what would they be doing? Like, what is that exactly?
Well, if you break it down into chemical, biological, nuclear, I dove around the chemical and the nuclear side. On the chemical side, for a few years, I ran what we call the Chemical Defense Training Facility, whereas you mix live nerve agents, and you send people through to training in a live chemical environment. And I was their operations officer for that, which means I was either mixing binary agents on a daily basis, or I was going through with the full gear for a long time, every day. And then I really got into my specialization, which was the nuclear warfare, which was radiation safety.
Yeah.
I ran the only radiation training facility in the United States for several years, whereas I had gamma sources in my courses. So I got to work with NORAD and stuff like that. So, I could set out a radiation field and call in helicopters for my students to go up and check with the equipment, what were hot spots and stuff like that. And there was one thing about RAD, is what we called it. They used to say that women and minorities did not do good in that course. And I would always wonder why. I mean, it's extremely, extremely math intensive. Yeah. Extremely.
Yeah.
But for me, it was simple. If you knew what you were supposed to do, you knew what you calculated. I mean, it was just something that was simple to me.
Yeah. Makes you wonder, but I'm over here just impressed just with what you said that you're doing with all these chemicals, nuclear radiation. This is stuff that, the average person is like, very leery of, in fact, let alone even understand. But you were basically creating circumstances for training as well, right? So not only did you have to really understand it, you had to understand it in a way so that other people can be educated and trained in those areas. So shout out to you, man. That's impressive. Yeah. And I'm assuming that, I don't know. Maybe you can share when you got to Lieutenant Colonel and you were about to leave. Was there a complete switch in the subject matter that you began to teach, or did some of that follow you even outside of your career with the military?
Well, see, as you promote up in the military, you have to take command. You have to do all those things, and I was one of the few chemical officers who actually got a command. So I was commander of all of Southern Mississippi.
Okay.
And then I worked with PACOM. You had to do a joint command. That was my first tour here in Hawaii. So I retired as director of a training and mobilization organization out of El Paso. So what did I take with me from the military to civilian life?
Yeah.
Was pretty much how I taught.
Okay.
But I think I took that into the military too. the fact of the matter is, when you're teaching or working with students, is they've got to hear it, they've got to see it, and they've got to touch it. And by making sure they did that, I was able to make sure my kids were successful.
Yeah.
I was lucky enough, even then, to partner with some universities that would come in and teach my classes with me in high school and even in middle school.
Yeah.
Because I didn't have enough sense not to ask. I'd go ask anybody for anything.
Right.
And so that is how I got things done. How I ended up at Texas Wesleyan was I was teaching at a middle school, Dunbar Middle, which is one of the lower income middle schools in Fort Worth.
Okay.
And I'm like, we have a university that has a STEM program that is free, that has a 3-year, it's a 3-year thing that the kids can do for free. And they get to take chemistry, they get to take physics, engineering, they get to take logic, mathematics, all of this stuff. Yeah. And it didn't cost them anything.
Yeah.
And so I got the director to come to my school and pitch it to my 7th and 8th grade, because they started in 7th grade. And she did. And she had never gotten kids from my school. So that first year, I had 20 plus kids sign up. And I'm like, oh my God, I don't know how they're going to act when they get there. So I volunteered to teach over there.
During the program.
And so, and I was 50. Yeah, I'm in my 60s. I'm going to let the audience know if they looking, I'm old. And she goes, well, I need you to teach robotics. I had never built a robot in my life. Didn't even know how to even program or anything. And so she said, I want you to teach robotics and I want you to teach physics. Physics, I had in the bag.
Yeah.
The robotics, I had no clue.
Brand new, newbie. You're a newbie.
Totally. Yeah. But I took a book. I learned how to do it. We were using back then the EV3s, which is a Lego robot. And just to build and program. And for me, it wasn't, oh, you build it, it's cute. No, you had to program it for a purpose. And after they built it, they had to program it to a song, and their particular robot had to work. Yeah. And it was just, I mean,
you were learning.
I just had a fun time.
You were just a little ahead of them, I'm sure, because it was all exciting to you. So this is your first time. You probably went home and tried things out before you got to class, so that they figured out. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
But still, you were still being able to just bring your expertise and your experience from the military as a teacher to that environment was, I'm sure, an amazing opportunity for those young people. And so often, Mary, I find that sometimes people think, oh, because I'm not I don't feel like an expert in this, or I don't feel like, I have achieved everything I wanted to achieve, that sometimes we shy away from the value that our mere presence, our attempt to something can actually bring. And so what I hear from your story is that you may not always knew how to do something. You may not always knew exactly how to do something at first, but you weren't afraid to dive head first and figure it out, because you knew that there was value in you attempting that.
Yeah, and I'm still learning. I'm still doing things. I'm still finding things.
Yeah.
To learn. Every year I keep saying I'm a really retire. I'm gonna quit.
Yeah.
That has not happened yet.
Yeah.
So it's not my time.
It's not. You got a lot more time, and you all give her some hearts, give her some love if you are enjoying this as much as I am. And if you're just joining us, this is Dr. Mary Payton. She is our furthest away STEM Media Live guest to date. I'm over here on the East Coast of the states, North Carolina. She's the furthest west that you can actually get and still be in this country, in the state of Hawaii. And what is it about, let's say, almost 4 o'clock there, 3:34 in the afternoon?
Yeah, it's about 3:30. You're exactly 6 hours behind you.
Wow.
That's why it's so bright. It's so bright in this room. No lights are on. I have the curtains drawn, and I still have this much light in here.
Yeah.
So this is not filters, people.
It's real. No filters. Don't play her. Don't play her. This is no filters. Shout out to everybody that's in the comments. Good to see you, Kat. Bundle Press says, awesome. Great inspiration of stepping up to the challenge. Really appreciate you sharing that. My friend, the Monshell, good to see you, Monshell. Ron, good to see you. We got a question I want you to address. This is from the Black Math Academy. While working at NORAD, what was your experience like as a Black person or as a woman?
Okay. Now, I didn't work at NORAD specifically. I worked with them because of having the gamma radiation sources in my laboratory. I didn't have any problems working with them. Once I thought I had a leak, and they came out and took care of everything. When we moved from Fort McClellan to Fort Leonard Wood, we had to move my sources, by truck to Leonard Wood, and just to pack the thing up was a 6-day ordeal because it had to sit in my lab, and this thing was huge. We're talking about like 3 feet around with the gamma source inside. Mm-hmm. So it had to sit in my lab for 3 days for them to take sources. And if you ever took a picture in that lab, which I did, the picture would always glow red. Then it had to sit on the truck for 3 days. Mm-hmm. And then you had to drive to Leonard Wood. It had to sit on the truck for 3 days. And then it had to sit in the lab for 3 days before you could unbox it. So, I worked with them on a lot of things. And one of my biggest things in working with them, I walked into one of my friend's houses and I saw this box on his mantle, and I looked at that box and it looked very curious. Mm-hmm. This was after Desert Storm, Desert Shield. And I kept looking at it, and I went back over to his house with a radiation detector. And before I hit the door, it started just pinging off the chain. Ooh. And it was the souvenir he had picked up. And he goes, he did not know that was what that box was. It was a dosimetry charger. And so we did a call out to everybody to bring in everything that they had that they had picked up. Yeah. And I think I had enough stuff that I had picked up from people and checked it out that it would fit in a full-size bed Connex. People had, just picked up stuff on the battlefield. I had lights off of the back of tanks, night lights. Wow. And I put them on film paper, and those were made from metal from Chernobyl. It had the same arcings and the same. I was like, really? So, NORAD was really helpful in me, figuring that stuff out. Yeah, yeah. Did you ever have to, do you ever feel like you had to prove yourself in the eyes of people? Because I think sometimes, and I want you to speak on this, but sometimes there's an exhausting feeling of, not only do I have to do my job well, but I have to prove to people sometimes that I'm worthy to be here. Did you deal with that at all? Or do you? Of course. Yeah, yeah. Talk about that a little bit. The first time I really dealt with it was, well, not the first time, but one of the times I really dealt with it was when I was working in San Antonio. Mm-hmm. And I was very active writing code back then. And we had a process that would take us 9-10 hours to do on a shift. I'm like, this is ridiculous. Mm-hmm. Because we're getting everything in electronically. Why can we not pull it together and get it back out electronically? It didn't make any sense that we were writing stuff down. So this was early on with Microsoft Access and everything. And so I just wrote a program to pull it all together. And they were like, oh, we don't want that. Okay. So I removed it, went about my business. Well, they came back a couple of weeks later and said, we're taking too much time doing this.
Yeah.
Can we have your program again?
Oh, so now y'all want the program.
I'm like.
So now you want my software. Yeah. Man.
But that was tracking people from 5 power projection platforms that were moving all over the world.
Yeah.
And so,
wow. And you did it.
Was what it was.
And you did it by your own, will. You just hey, let me go ahead. Let me throw this together. It was effective. Apparently, sometimes people get in their feelings when it's like, oh, someone else came up with something smart. But hey, the value of it spoke for itself.
I just saw a problem and I solved it.
Right.
And yeah. So,
yeah.
So there have been times that I've been told that, oh, this isn't going to work.
Yeah.
And sometimes it didn't, but a lot of times it did.
Yes.
So.
Yes.
But yeah.
Well, y'all give us some hearts for that. I love it. The Black Math guy said, intellectual property, copyright, trademark. Yeah, you can have it. I own it though. Oh man, I love it. And I just love that you share that story too, because again, it just reminds us of the value that we bring is not based on other people's opinion of that value. That value is inside here, is in here, and we have the ability to do amazing things, whether or not that value is seen right up front by people who ultimately would perhaps benefit from it as well. And so I just really love that you shared that story, Mary. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Yes, Dr. Mary Payton with us, y'all. Give us some hearts. You are welcome to add a few questions if you have any. Dr. Ja, it says, yep, he agrees. He's definitely into intellectual property. He's all about keeping ownership. And I think we've had conversations about that too.
Yeah, we did. I'm still learning. Still learning.
Yep. So if y'all have a question, please drop it in there. We'll try to get to it. But Mary, please do me a favor and talk about discipline for a second. And, a lot of people that I know that have military backgrounds are really big on discipline. And so I'm just wondering, what are some of the things you learned in the area of discipline, and how have you found that to apply to the world of STEM education?
When it comes to STEM education and applying discipline, for me, because of some of the things I do and some of the things I've done, safety with kids, or safety period, even when I trained adults, was very important. Doing things the right way, but making sure they know what they're supposed to do.
Yeah.
Like I've said earlier, I've taught some of the roughest kids, but if they were actually doing the experiments, working with scalpels, dissecting things, I found that I didn't have a lot of discipline problems. But I still had some. Just like I said, I quit after 3 weeks of being here. But when I started having those kids become part of the process and not looking at them as being a problem, I stopped having a lot of the issues.
Right.
Some issues, especially in public school education, you can look at kids and tell something is wrong. And I've been able to remove a kid to another classroom before a fight happens.
Yeah.
Or something like that.
Yeah.
A lot of times, making yourself acquainted with a parent before you have to call a parent and tell them that their child is in trouble.
Right.
Has worked wonders.
Yeah.
Because then the parent, they know who you are, they know what you're teaching. So I've always called parents before if I have 120 kids, I'm going to try to at least call a parent or send them a letter within that first term.
Establish a rapport.
So they know
before you have to tell them what's wrong. Yeah.
Yep. Before I have to call them and say, your child got into a fight or your child didn't do their work, that kind of thing.
I have to discipline your child. Yeah, I think that sounds a lot like strategy too, Mary. And I understand that that's another thing that you were heavily involved in the military. Yeah. Strategically coming up with a plan.
Oh, yeah.
To figure out how you're going to accomplish the mission. And yeah, I'm hearing a lot about that. What about career wise though, because you taught here, you taught overseas. What are some of the things you've learned strategically as it relates to a career journey, a career path that perhaps some of our viewers could take to heart?
Well, when you're in the military, they tell you what your career path is going to be, or what paths that you can go on.
Okay.
Basically, in your particular career field.
Okay. Yeah.
And sometimes we change career fields in the military, so we change our paths and so on and so forth. So for me to make a lieutenant colonel, I had to have a command. I had to work with joint staff, and so on and so forth. But when I went into teaching, now I had my teaching certification before I went in the military, and I'd never stepped into a classroom.
Okay.
I went in the military, and then when I retired, I went into teaching. And I tried to make a career path for myself. I taught at the university level, but at that time I was still a reservist, and I kept getting pulled out to get deployed after 9/11. So I've gotten deployed 3 times.
Wow.
Yeah. So I decided, you know what? I'm just going to go into public school because the money is relatively the same. But because my kids were grown and I loved traveling, I had to try to figure out what path what do I want to do.
Right.
So I took principal courses to become a principal. I did not sit for my second principal's test here in Texas, but I still had some certifications. That's why I was able to do it in South Korea.
Yeah.
But you have to learn to make your own path. I mean, you can stay in the classroom for 20, 30 years as a teacher and do wonderful and retire graciously and wonderfully and still have a good life.
Yeah.
But I wanted to try some things. I wanted to go other places. I wanted to see other places. That was how I ended up in Dubai.
Yeah.
That was why I ended up in South Korea.
Yeah.
And then again, I had retired. I was retired when I came here. I was retired. When I came here. I had been retired for 2 years. And, I got to come to meet a need.
Yeah.
But as a teacher in public or private school, you have to create your own path. And I'm saying that because my niece has created her own path. She has her MBA. And when she heard her husband had children, she was like, I have got to get on the same schedule as my kids when they started going to school. So she became a teacher, and she loved teaching language arts. And then one year they told her she was going to teach science. Thought she was going to die.
Yeah.
But ended up loving it. Yeah. And she's like, I need to see what I can do better.
Right.
So she went the principal's path. Yeah. And so she's got her principal certification. So
that's good.
She became a test administrator. Now she's applying for assistant principal's job. So
create your own path.
You have to make it. You have to create your path.
Yeah.
You have to create it.
How did your path? Just to quickly get in on Stephanie's question, how did your path, or where did the motivation come from for you to pursue a PhD? Because you are a doctor, Mary Payton. And how did you know that a doctorate was something that you wanted to do?
I had always wanted to do it.
Yeah.
And what had happened in my military path was I have, as you know, I have 2 children, and both of my children had medical problems. They were severe asthmatic. And I was stationed in one place, and my ex-husband was working in another place. And because of the kids' medical issues, because they were very little, I went to my branch and asked if I could do whatever I needed to do to put my family in the same location. And at that time, General Nilo, she told me, she said, Mary, I'm going to do it for you, but you know you're not going to get promoted on active duty. You may do it in reserve, but you're not going to get it on active duty because you took a position that was beneath you.
Okay.
And I'm like, I got to do what I got to do.
Yeah.
And so I did. And she said, well, if you're going to do this, you're going back. You complained and complained and complained about not having time for your PhD. I'm putting you in a position of where you can get your PhD.
Nice.
And so she put me in a position to where I had the time to work on my PhD.
Yeah.
But in the midst of that, 9/11 hit. I got deployed twice during my PhD.
Wow. How many people
So
say that?
I was writing my dissertation on a deployment while I was running a CS chamber for the Department of Defense.
Get out of here.
So.
Oh my goodness. Hey, we need to talk to you. There's another platform. Shout out to Black in Grad School. They talk about a lot of grad school issues, and that in and of itself is something that's like, whoa, how in the world? Because that's difficult in and of itself, writing a dissertation, that motivation. But you were able to do this during the deployment, and you're running things in the deployment. You're not just out there, one of many. You're leading while also trying to get those chapters done.
Yeah.
Man.
Some days I felt like Dora.
Yeah.
The fish Dora, just keep swimming.
Just keep swimming. I love it. I love it. We're loving it too. Miss Shawn is loving it too with the hearts. Man, this has been good. We're down to a few more minutes left, Mary. Time is flying when we're having fun. But give us a quick talk all about STEM Radio. Let us know about that and how we can check out your radio show that you're doing.
All About STEM Radio is every Monday from 7 to 8 p.m. Central Time on Fishbowl Radio Network. So if you go to fbrn.us, and then at 7 o'clock, you'll see me holding 2 robots and listen to the show. I've had some wonderful guests to include you, Nehemiah. And, I have some wonderful guests coming up. And I've been in show this is going on my 4th year. I didn't think anybody would want to hear me talk about STEM, but I've been so surprised and so shocked.
You're doing it, yeah.
And I've had some outstanding guests. I did do the show 1 year when I was in South Korea. I did the show from there. Mm-hmm. So I've had guests from roughly 15 different countries. And, India, Vietnam, South Korea, United Arab Emirates, England, on and on and on. So I've been very blessed to have a great STEM community.
Yes.
And so it's every Monday from 7 to 8 Central Time on fbrn.us. And one more thing I want to talk about is, you mentioned it earlier that I was an author, and hopefully I can hold up one of my books to where you can see it. Mm-hmm. This was my second book, Taylor Texas. And did I send you both books, or did I send you one?
I think I got one. I got that one you just held up. I got to find it. It's over here somewhere.
And then I also have one for Hawaii.
Can't find it. Shout out to Taylor's STEM Adventures. Hold up again so everybody can see it. You all got to check this out. She was nice enough to hook up STEM Media with a copy. Taylor's STEM Adventures. Yes. I wish we would have talked about that soon. I'm so glad you brought that up. And that's a great book. You all got to check that out. How can people get a copy of that if they want?
It's online on Barnes & Noble, Amazon, and Walmart.
Yeah.
But what I love about the books is everything in the books are things that you can do with your kids, places you can go with your kids, because they're things I did with my children.
Yeah.
And so that was one of the reasons I wrote them. If you travel with your kids, seek out things to do. Things that's going to impact their lives, things that they're going to enjoy. And look at it from the eyes of from a STEM perspective.
Yes, absolutely. Oh, I love it. And those science STEM socks are still fitting me pretty well too.
That's right, I did see
Yeah. Shout out to her. And that was a while ago too. That was kind of some of the early days of STEM Media Live. I know you resonated. Yeah. You've been doing your radio show longer than I've been doing this show, and so you used to be in my place interviewing others. And so it's just an honor and a pleasure to have been one of your guests. It's an honor and pleasure to have you be one of our guests here on STEM Media Live again, with the furthest distance. Now joining us from Hawaii, y'all. She's joining us from Hawaii. And it's been amazing to hear more of your story. And something tells me that there's just so much more to it. But you definitely blessed us with so much insight and lessons to take away. And so I'm wondering, Mary, she said, yes. Are your kids in the STEM field? Yes or no?
My oldest is not.
Okay.
Although he loves building things.
Yeah.
So I'm waiting for him to build me a dining table.
Okay.
My youngest is in media production, so he's into sound.
Yeah.
He does audio, and he does video, but he likes audio better because he's a musician.
Yeah.
So if you ever hit me up on Facebook, you can hear some of his music, but he owns his own production company, and all of us help out. So
I love it. Well, before Instagram gives us this hard stop, Mary, if you can just speak to us, we have about 60 seconds for you to please give us some parting words of wisdom. Obviously, there's so much of a context that I won't even bother to paint for you right now. But if you were to leave.
First, what my mother says, no one can do more for you than you can do for yourself. And the second is be part of the game. Be in the STEM game. Don't just, I got a cute app on my phone, build the app. Or, I want to have these lights in my house, I can pay somebody to do it. Figure out how they're supposed to do it, how you're supposed to do it. If you want to be an engineer, figure out what type of engineer you want to be. So be present in the game.
There you have it, y'all. Please give her some hearts, give her some love for that. Mary, we will hold on to that. We will be in the game. We will know that no one can do for us what we can do for ourselves. And if we believe, we know that we have the value. It doesn't matter if it isn't recognized by those around us. We're going to continue to stand firm. We're going to continue to play the game as best we can. And I just want to say thank you and affirm you for all the good that you're bringing to the STEM community. Thank you so much, Dr. Payton.
Thank you. And I'm always looking for great guests. So if you have anybody you want to recommend.
Oh, for sure. We've had a lot. Please hit her up, y'all. Make sure you follow her at All About STEM Radio on Instagram. And stay tuned for STEM Media. We'll continue to do this every Sunday. We have a STEM Media Network, of course, as you know about Mary. And we just look forward to collaborating and talking more as time goes on.
Okay. Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you all so much. Hope y'all have a great week. And we will talk to you all later next week on STEM Media Live. STEM Media Live brought to you by the STEM Media Network.